Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LA, the 6:30 edition. I'm so excited for you because Biden's stimulus, the third stimulus package, is actually quite great. Despite what we were initially told in a press conference, which I think, caused a lot of people to go drink. It's actually a very good bill. It's a great bill. The introduction of the bill was not well done, and I think a lot of people got turned off initially. And it's taking some time for people to come back around and say, "Wait a second, you didn't see the bill yet. It's not bill yet. It ain't law yet." Well, the great news in this video, I'm going to go over why this is a good bill, why it's going to give you a lot of money, how I'm very excited for you. If you're a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP, or anyone that's ready to pounce, you're going to be very, very excited with this bill. And if you're a donut guy, there's just not much money in here for a donut. This is a great morning. I'm so excited for you. It's Early Mornings LA Light. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Early Mornings LA, the 6:30 edition. Boy, am I excited for you. As we now have this third stimulus package bill draft. I was the first one worldwide on YouTube to deliver it yesterday. No one else had it. I don't even know if they even got up yet. But the great details is that I was the first to go over you line item, everything that's in it, as a bug is flying in my face. He wants some stimulus as well. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel. Hit that alert button and like this video. Meantime, if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. The join link is at the top of the chat. Become a Purple Power member, Hawk, Calcino VIP, or Power member. Access to new emojis. I've been rolling out donut and not law yet, $12 ice cream, which refers to anything that's absolutely delicious, and sirloin, when you know you gotta hustle for stuff. Sirloin is to hustle, ice cream is for deliciousness, and donut is just laziness. And over there is an instant premiere, allows you to chat with your Purple Power buddies, and you just hit that smiley face underneath your voice and underneath your line if you're a member, and you can add an emoji to every time you say "you're just lazy, donut." So there you go. And there's so much happening across the board. I am going to go through that deliciousness of the third stimulus package right now. So with that, let's get ready. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news, as you see here today, is that the third stimulus package of Joe Biden is actually quite good. And to the extent that people thought it was bad, it was because he just did a very bad introduction of it. It's like, Joe, I think you need, some balloons or something in the set. So let me explain where we are tonight. And let me explain where you're going to be tomorrow and the day after and this morning. So as you wake up this morning, what you need to understand is that the third stimulus package has in it items that belong in a stimulus package and items that don't belong in a stimulus package. It does not have the $2,400 of SSI and SSDI in it because it was not supposed to be in there. I had told you all throughout October and November and December it was not going to be in there. And for reasons I don't know why, I forgot to remind you before the press conference, it's not going to be in there. Don't look listening for it. It's not in there. And people just really just sort of lost it when they heard it was not mentioned there. Also not mentioned in there was highways. Also not mentioned when there was teachers, because he wants a teacher bill separate. He wants a highway bill separate. He wants fixing the Social Security program separate. And he also wants something about student loan debt repayment or forgiveness. He wants to forgive $10,000 of it separate. So these are all separate bills. The fact that they were all mentioned in Joe Biden's transition papers makes people think, oh, he's talking about stimulus. No, because he's talking about a lot of things he wants to do, and it's not all stimulus. And yeah, you'll think about the $2,400 as money, but it was actually just to say, hey, we have a lot of other things to fix with you as well. The 20% step up approximately because your benefits have been wrong all these years, and a new benchmark, that's because you want to fix those. So what about the stimulus check? The stimulus check will be the following, as proposed. You know, as you're going to hear throughout this video, I'm going to go over some things and you're going to see where he's very loose about, and he says, I want to be loose. I have no strong opinion yet. Other things where he does have a strong opinion about makes it look like this is where it's going to go. And others where he leaves things open. So on the stimulus check, he's not loose on this. He's very clear. It's going to be, he wants $3,200 to adult dependents. Adult dependents would get $3,200. Why? $2,000 for the second stimulus check, which they didn't get, and $1,200 for the first stimulus check, which they didn't get. $3,200. Very simple. Then it's an attack of a bug here. Ooh. We have a visitor. Want some stimulus? Then we have everyone else. We get $1,400. $1,400 for individuals. $1,400 for children, and double that for married couple. So that's pretty obvious. The next thing, yes, some excitement on Early Mornings LA. The next thing of deliciousness is hazard pay. Now, hazard pay is very, very vague. So let me explain how it sounds that he's doing hazard pay. He seems to separate it into two categories. One, he splits it into state and local government officials, workers like fire, rescue, ambulatory. He wants them to get hazard pay from the federal government that's routed to the states and locals, and then they pay them. That's pretty clear. We've heard this before. How about everyone else? So this is very interesting. He says that he's unhappy how retail and certain types of like groceries have not been paying you hazard pay. So he wants to reach out to the CEOs of those major corporations and have them understand they have to start paying hazard pay. What does that mean? It basically means that he's going to use sort of a union type move to force businesses to do things under the law. He's going to force a law out that will require businesses to do certain things. How does this work? In LA County, they're doing it. In LA County, they're requiring grocery stores to pay hazard pay to workers because they refuse to do it. They refused to do it. The unions were fighting them over it. So the unions lobbied the county and said, hey, force the grocery stores to pay our grocery workers in the union hazard pay. And they got it. So this is how Joe Biden would be doing it. Is he ultimately is going to talk to them voluntarily and say, hey, pay them hazard pay, or I'm going to make it a law and force you to pay hazard pay. So who's going to be forced to pay hazard pay if they don't voluntarily do it? He's talking about retail, which is really quite good. So this is more broad than normal. You would never, you always heard me say, you know, if you went to the Gap, you're not getting hazard pay. If you went to Banana Republic, you're not getting hazard pay. General retail would not get normal hazard pay. But I did say Walmart, Costco, these mixed use businesses were hard to say what's going to happen with them for hazard pay. So it looks like he wants to force them in. He wants to force certain industries into hazard pay where they have to pay for it, not the federal government. That's really good news because you would basically get your money from your employer. You wouldn't have to do anything. They would be required under the law to pay you, and they would pay you. So who would not get covered by this bill? Who would be left out? It looks like the people that would be left out are people in small mom and pop businesses. They probably would not fall within the regulation unless it's an industry-wide regulation. Let's say it's grocery stores, but it's a small mom and pop grocery store. Maybe they'll be forced to pay you hazard pay. Interesting. Next, FPUC and FPUC retro. The great news on that one is the following. The language he uses when discussing FPUC is basically, I don't have an opinion. I'm just making recommendations. Interesting. So he says, I like the number $400, but I'm not saying it has to be $400. Ooh, okay. I like that so far. Then he also says there has to be a term of when we're running this from. You know, maybe we'll do it to September. But I'm going to leave this up to Congress. I'm going to leave them up to figure out how they want to do it. There you go. And he says something really delicious. This is an emoji, an ice cream emoji time. He says, you know what? When I'm looking at FPUC, I don't want to keep on having you come back to me, every 5 months with a 10,000 page bill, just because you want to extend things or modify it a little bit. We're going to figure out a way that you can just change things on the fly. Oh my goodness, this is incredible. So this is like our deal provision of our dream. So he does not say you are getting retro. He's not saying you're not getting retro. He's not saying you are getting $400, and he's not saying you're not getting $400. He's basically leaving everything very up in the air. Then there are other provisions under here that were just shocking, that no one saw coming, that were incredible. Rent for people who are in the middle class? Yes. So he has a provision in here that pays rent to both low income and middle class, whether you are employed or unemployed. Lord. Then he has an incredible paid sick leave. If you work at a job where you don't get sick leave, as most places don't pay you sick leave, he does not want you to risk your life to go back to work because of COVID. So he wants to pay you $1,400 a week if you get sick, then up to $78,000 annual. Now, is this retro? I know I get all these questions. Is it retro, the paid sick leave? And when does it go back? And how do I qualify? How do I apply? I don't know yet. It's not law yet. It's not law yet, but it's very exciting. Then he has a provision where students can get $1,200 approximately in financial assistance. Let's turn to the business stuff. There's money for grants, and there's money for future loans. They're all exciting. First, there's money for grants. As he says, your business was impacted by the pandemic. He's going to pay you some grant money. So this is really good news. But if you need money to start a new business, this is the first time anyone's ever said this in any of these provisions. If you want money to start a business, he's going to do a major, major loan program. This is incredible. So how does this loan program work? We don't know anything about it, but he says it's a great idea because the federal government makes money on it. It doesn't cost the federal government to run the program, and so it doesn't cost into the total value of the bill. Because I'll be attacked by Mr. Bug. And that's the really good news. I'm really excited for you. So wow, what a day it is. We're seeing progression across the board on things that we just never would have seen. We've gone from wondering whether there is hazard pay to knowing there is hazard pay, knowing whether there is FPUC retro or that it's dead, to now knowing that it's still in play. Not knowing whether we're going to get EIDL to now knowing we can get a grant. Not knowing whether we're going to get SSI or SSDI, now knowing it's going to be standalone, presumably, and not knowing whether you're going to get certain things, and that clarity is forming up. So what are my opinions of the situation? My opinions are the stimulus check is still sort of an anomaly. It's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. And it's really not quite clear what this bill is to be for. Joe Biden says this is, the first of many bills, but then the bill is also to September. If the provisions of the bill were just 3 or 4 months or 3 months, a short-term bill, then I would understand, okay, you're doing this bill and you're going to do another bill in a few months from now. But the fact that the other provisions of the bill go to September, I would like to see the stimulus check larger. But remember, it's not a bill yet. It's not a bill yet. So I almost went down that rabbit hole myself. We're debating a draft of a bill. After being very negative, some of you, based upon a press conference of a draft of a bill. And as we see more paper and then we see more deal items, we start to get very encouraged. The best thing, that really, really, really great thing that came out of this is that there's very little pork, if no pork at all in here. There's no pork in here. So the reason why 1.9 is going so far, 1.9 trillion is going so far, is because there's no pork in here. It literally is a bill that does every single thing for COVID stimulus. It doesn't spend money on salary raises for Department of Treasury or all those things. We heard horrible stuff in 2020. You remember she was doing salary raises or money for federal governments and money for Taiwan. And we're not doing this. This is only exactly stimulus. Well, at least for now it is. Until the bar guy shows up from Sirloin's office. And now, if you have questions or comments, drop them in the comments below. I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. Coming up next is the continuation of this morning show with Mornings LA at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Subscribe, hit the alert button, and like this video. And consider joining by becoming a Purple Power member, Calcino VIP, or Purple Hawk. Stay informed, stay focused, and have a great morning. And I'll see you at 8:30 a.m.